Hi, my name is Darlene Tate, and welcome to another edition of Film Friday this February 5th. I would like to ask everyone, if you are going to share this video, please share the entire post so that any links provided will travel with the share. Thank you. So today, noon, launches the Victoria Film Festival. So Film Friday will be another slightly longer version today as we focus on local filmmakers who are screening at the festival. We spoke with filmmaker Robin Thomas last week, and this week we're talking with Connor Gaston and Steve Sxwithul'txw about their films. And from the indie world, we're also going to be able to chat with Octavian Kaul, who is going to camera with his next short called Wormies. And of course, the feature film generating so much buzz right now is All in Madonna, directed by Arnold Lim, produced by Anna Delara, and written by Susie Winters. This is their hometown premiere, and in addition to just being a great film all on its own, it also has the benefit of lots of local faces and places. So please consider getting a ticket, joining the watch party, which will be happening on Saturday, followed by a Q&A session, which I'm delighted to be hosting, and there will be links in the post to this. So please enjoy a great movie and enjoy a Q&A afterwards. And on to some more news. The Netflix 10-part limited series Made is wrapping up right now, and we can expect to see it on air by the end of this year, although I couldn't find out whether it will be released in Canada at the same time it's being released in the US. That I don't know, but they do say that it will be on air by the end of the year. Made is a dramedy about a single mother who turns to housekeeping to make ends meet as she battles poverty, homelessness, and bureaucracy. The show is inspired by this book, Stephen Land's memoir, Made: Hard Work, Low Pay, and a Mother's Will to Survive. The book has gotten all kinds of wonderful reviews. Netflix is staying on the island, however, and they are in the process of crewing up for their next series. So if you have at least one professional film credit and as crew member, and make sure you are on the Film Commission's database, because that's one of the places they're looking. The link will be provided in the post, so consider that. Can't release the name of the series yet, hopefully soon, but not quite. The other one wrapping up in our region is Scaredy Cats. That is another Netflix series from the successful Air Bud Entertainment Group. And if you have kids, you already know all about this series. Pretty tough to find out any details about this show, but as someone who was on set for part of it, all I can say is watch out for it. You're in for a great time, and I promise your kids will love it. And again, local faces, local places. It's always fun to catch those when you're watching films. And for those of you reading the Times Colonist today, there was an important article in there by Darren Kloster about the financial realities currently being faced by the Film Commission. Now, I know I've said it before, but the Film Commission, they brought in about $50 million last year in revenue to the region and operated with a budget of about $150,000. A lot of their support was cut last year due to COVID. And if we want to see a thriving film business here, we do need to find ways to support them. So I would like to ask anybody that is watching this, that if you know of any businesses that have been doing quite well during the pandemic, I'd like you to encourage them to consider supporting the Film Commission. They bring just all kinds of opportunities for local employment. They build up the crew database. They work constantly from first inquiry till the day they leave town. They work with with visiting productions of all levels. And they also provide a lot of services to independent films. So please find a way to help support our local Film Commission. And again, a link for their sponsorship pages will be in the post. On the indie side of our local film world, it's been a bit quiet, although as I mentioned, Cinevic member Octavian Kaul's short Wormies goes to camera next weekend. And we're going to talk to him in a bit. But for those of you who don't know Octavian, he is an actor, writer and director, amongst other things, but that's what you typically know him from. I met a young Octavian Kaul through the award-winning short, The Cameraman, that I was involved with. And he has, as an actor, he's gone on with roles in shows like Once Upon a Time, The Flash, and Supergirl, amongst many others, and written, directed, or produced an amazing body of award-winning shorts, including Mia, LGBTQ-less, Bump in the Night, Attack of the Killer Scarecrow. And did I mention he's 16? We will be talking with him very soon. Also in the indie world, Brent Lanyon and his 29 Takes Productions has a 5-minute cell phone challenge out. We're going to talk with Brent next week in more detail, but here is their poster. I believe their teams have all registered, and they have until the middle of March to submit their 5-minute cell phone challenge film. There will be a link, so if you follow that link, you'll see the other details. So a little bit north of us, Cine Central is hosting a script session on Saturday, which will include a peek at Matt Haley's next script, The Gladiolus Blossom. We've got both Zachary Tanner and Matt Haley on deck for one of our next couple of Film Fridays so that we can take a closer look at what's happening a little bit north of us. And along with our interviews that are coming shortly, that's it for Film Friday. So we'll see you on the other side of the interviews. And thanks again for joining us. I want to welcome to Film Friday Connor Gaston, who doesn't need a whole lot of introduction to the region. So Connor, so great to see you, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Darlene.
Now, you and I haven't had a chance to visit a lot through this pandemic, so this is also a bit of a catch up for me, but I am really anxious to hear a little bit more about, I hope I say it right, Ohrwurm?
Sounds good.
How do you say it?
Ohrwurm, yeah. Ohrwurm.
Okay. Which is, I'm assuming, German for earwig, which is in brackets afterwards. So you filmed this in Berlin last year.
Yeah, 2019, the summer.
Okay. So a couple of questions. First, what took you to Berlin to do this? Any specific reason?
No, not really. Honestly, I turned 30 and I asked myself what I want to do. And I'd always wanted to film something abroad. And I had this grant from BC Arts Council, and it just felt like a fun adventure, really. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'd been to Berlin before and I loved it. And there's obviously a film community there. So it was either there or Paris. And I reached out to a producer through a mutual friend, and it seemed to be the best way of Berlin seemed to be the right choice.
Now, and how was the experience generally in terms of finding cast and crew to do this with you? I mean, it sounds like quite an undertaking.
Yeah, it was a risk, but relatively speaking, it was pretty smooth. The producer really helped us out in terms of he had a crew that he works with all the time who turned out to be lovely. The German stereotype of efficiency was true in my case. It was the fastest moving crew I'd ever seen. So that was a pleasure. And things like cast, the producer works with a really excellent casting director. So we had really plenty of options. We got to see a lot of tapes for our lead, and we're lucky enough to get our first choices for the two actors. So overall, it was a risk, but a positive experience. The language barrier, of course, was weird, especially translating the script. But we can talk about that maybe more later.
Now, was this a collaborative effort with you and Vaughn, your brother?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so if you can give us your brief synopsis, what is this about?
Sure. It's about a older woman who was an ex-Stasi informant back in the East Berlin GDR days, who is scared to leave her house. She's cooped up. Nothing to do with COVID, although we get the comparisons nowadays.
Yeah.
And the story is really about her son trying to get her to come out of her house on her birthday. And that's the very brief synopsis.
Great. Okay, now for people who, for whatever reason, aren't able to catch your screening at the film festival, is there a place they can follow to find out where it's going to screen or what other options they may have?
Nope, not really. I mean, eventually, hopefully, it finds a place to live online, and I'll post about it on various social media platforms.
So have you got
think
it
that's
submitted to other festivals?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
great. Well, make sure you keep me apprised when you get a screening, and I can always post about it, and you know.
Sure.
Now, I don't think people would forgive me unless I asked the question, what are you up to next?
Writing, mostly just writing. We have another short film that received funding recently, which we're excited about. So that's in kind of pre-production, I guess. It still feels like a ways away. Hopefully in the summer we'll shoot. But right now it's mostly just writing feature projects.
Great. So after Urworm, the next one is likely to be this short then that we see from you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. All right. Well, I'll let you get back on with your day. Just thanks for taking a few minutes and stopping in. We hope everybody buys tickets to the shorts portion of the Victoria Film Festival, and I will post links down below. So thanks, Connor. Always nice to see you and catch up a bit.
Yeah, lovely to see you.
My God, I am so sorry, and I'm so glad you came back. And we are recording, which we were at the beginning of our chat.
I should have said something because I can usually see the recording, but I didn't see it back then. So I just thought, well, maybe she took it off or something. So
I was on for a minute or two before I let you in, and it showed recording, and then I don't know what happened. So I'm so sorry to have wasted your time.
No problem. No,
I'm just I'm gonna explain to people that Steve and I just had a lovely chat, and Zoom, for whatever the technical gods decided it wasn't going to record. So he was gracious enough to come back and join us. So Steve, thank you. I apologize.
It's my pleasure.
Okay, so I'm going to keep it brief, but I want to get to the key points, and that is Steve Sxwithul has and his team have a short in the Indigenous Shorts program at the Victoria Film Festival, which launches in like 15 minutes, grand opening, 15 minutes, yay! And so his short is called Finding the Balance, and it's about First Nations and their relationship to the sea. So again, thank you, and I apologize, Steve. So can you give us a little bit of background into what led you to create Finding the Balance?
Thank you, Darlene. And yeah, this film kind of landed on my lap. It was initially a commercial video request that I was asked to finish with my sister. Ironically, she works down at Beecher Bay, and they pitched it to me, and I was like, "Wow, that's an amazing story." So, and the story revolves around 4 First Nations here in the South Coast: Sauk, Beecher Bay, Esquimalt, and Songhees. They had a total of, I believe, 12 or 14 divers that were part of this program that Trina actually had developed. And part of the mainstay of the program was to be ocean monitors for the traditional territories off the coast of Vancouver Island. So to my knowledge, this has never been done before. So these nations are really taking the lead in taking charge of what's happening in their waters. So these divers were trained up in Campbell River to become commercial divers, which took months and months and months of a lot of work. And I just thought after they had finished and I was told what they were going to be doing, I just thought, wow, this would make a great film. Not only, you know, having the commercial video for their communities, but I thought the world needs to know what these guys are doing because it's incredible. So it was a perfect opportunity for me to make a film out of it, a cinematic version, and to catch what these divers are doing and what these nations are doing to protect their waters. And we're talking, you know, we've got a lot of ocean traffic, oil tankers and pleasure crafters, boats, you name it, that are going through our waters here on the South Coast, and as well invasive species issues that we're having within this region as well with the green crab. And, you know, the ocean is our sustenance. We depend on foods from these waters. I could go through a long list of foods in which we eat. I grew up within these southern waters. So it's really important and critical to us, our elders, our youth. And I just thought this was a perfect opportunity to tell this amazing story.
Right. Well, as I'd mentioned previously, Russ Chips, who is chief of Beecher Bay, I've been fortunate enough to spend some time with him, and the quote he has, I've heard him say a few times that made an impact on me was that he says, when the tide goes out, our table is set. And so, and that affected me. That made me appreciate a level of importance maybe I hadn't previously given much thought to. So one of the questions I want to ask you is, what is your intent in terms of what this film will do for First Nations people? How will it assist you going forward?
Well, I think first of all, raising the awareness that this group, this core group here in Southern Vancouver Island, has come up with a concept, they come up with an idea, they found the money, and they invested in youth, in training, and now have these ocean monitors actively working on the southern coast here of the island, which is incredible. So it's possible and it's doable. So I think that when you have nations that come together as a group, as a core group, and find the funding and do whatever is necessary to protect the waters, to protect our resources, it's truly possible and important. And I think that for our non-Indigenous audience, it shows, you know, what we're really doing. I mean, for thousands and thousands of generations, probably hundreds and hundreds of generations rather, we have protected our environments here as Coast Salish people, as Indigenous people across the country. This actually brings it into the waters of our regions, which is really, really important. And again, I don't know if that was done in the past. I imagine it was, but using new technology and new ways of protecting our waters, I think this is a perfect example of what nations can do, coastal nations can do to protect their waters.
Wonderful. And it seems like you've been getting a wonderful reception through the film festival. So I want to ask about people who, for whatever reason, are not able to see it through the film festival. How can they follow Finding the Balance and keeping an eye on where it may screen next?
Yeah, no, great question. I've just created a new Facebook page under Finding the Balance. So if you hit search and punch in Finding the Balance, it'll pop up. It's a public page, and it just gives an idea of where we're going to hopefully be selected in the future to premiere this show once again, or this film. And of course, it goes feedback on the participants that are involved, some videos. I got a trailer on there, and some still photos. So it just keeps everybody up to date. And of course, contact information if you need to reach out to myself or the producer, Trina Sxwithul'txw, that's the way to do it.
Okay. Well, depending on the overall length of today's Film Friday, I will either put a link to the trailer or I'll show the trailer. So we'll just see where we end up when this is all said and done. So Steve, thank you again. I'm going to let you go to get on with your day. I appreciate you being available to come back on for that technical glitch. And good luck. Happy festing. We are now 10 minutes before the opening of the film festival. So I'm excited for everything that brings to you. So good job. And I look forward to connecting down the road.
Thanks so much, Sterling. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Talk to you soon. And it's the beginning. So welcome, Octavian. I'm glad you took time to join us today. I'm excited to talk to you about what's going on.
Thanks for having me.
So I've been seeing on Facebook, and because we do chat from time to time, you're getting ready to go to camera with your next short called
Wormies, yeah, it's a 80s set creature horror film that will probably turn out to be around 25 minutes long. So it's been a gigantic undertaking. We're going to be filming for about 2 weeks, which is a lot.
Wow, that is a lot.
Yeah.
Now, can you give us just a brief synopsis? What will people expect to see in Wormies?
Sure. It's about a American suburban family in the 1980s. A mother and her two kids who've been kind of estranged since her husband, the kid's father, died a year prior to the events of the film. And so when the youngest child receives this sort of cutesy new toy pet thing, and it mutates into a monster when something in the growth process goes wrong, they have to get rid of it and through that grow closer as a family.
I can't wait to see it. Now, tell me, what have you been finding the most challenging part of this? Can I assume it's the creature?
Yeah, so I mean, every part of it's challenging. Everything's challenging all the time. You know, finding the location took months. The script I worked on for like a year and a bit. But yeah, the special effects, because it's all practical, because we want it to sort of feel like an 80s thing. And I don't know the first thing about VFX, but learning all of these new, like, it's an entirely new art form that we're kind of learning to make these practical creatures and do all this stuff. Like, this is not the final thing, but this is kind of the size and shape of what the creature is going to look like, and it's a sort of prototype of what the skin will be.
Now,
Wrong
did
color.
you make this?
Yeah, so the way we made it is my sister, who's very talented, sculpted it in clay. And then we made a mold out of that. And then this is silicone that we sort of laid on the inside. It's too thick to go on the creature.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just been, I mean, we've been working on this since the pandemic started, since about March. It's been just this constant project that we're finally getting close to finishing. And it's just a lot of work, and it's a lot of new stuff that we have to learn and get used to.
Now, who's your production designer on this?
Our production designer is the wonderful Joyce Klein, who is
Okay.
yeah, and she's just brilliant. It's been so fantastic to get that sort of, to
That
give
caliber?
that kind of big job to someone else where we would usually be doing it ourselves. Because she's so incredibly talented, and the film is kind of challenging in that it's a period piece. It's set in the 80s, so there's a lot of work that has to be done on the location and with all the props and stuff, and she's just been doing a wonderful job with all of that.
Well, as we both know, having worked with Joyce together in the past, she is meticulous, so I'm thrilled.
Yeah.
And who is your cast?
So our cast, we have three leads. The whole film is essentially three people in a house with a monster. And so for the two kids, we have a young actor named Azrael Dahlman, who is super talented, and you'll be seeing him everywhere soon. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He's in Soul, which he was like one of the additional voices on that, which is a great film that came out. And his resume intimidates me, so
Wow.
you'll be seeing him a lot in the future.
Great.
Then for the other quote unquote kid, but we have Hannah Zirk, who is also a very, very talented actress, and she's been in a few things. And then for the mother, we have Leslie Deshooter. I don't know if I'm saying her last name right, but she's a acting coach, I think, up in.
She's from Up Island, correct?
Yeah, she is, and she's very talented, and I'm very excited to get to meet all of them and kind of work with them and see what they can do with each other.
And you go to camera when?
We go to camera. Oh God, don't remind me. It's terrifying. Now the 4th, we start filming on the 15th, and we load stuff into the location on the 12th. Okay. So we're really soon, like close to filming, which is terrifying.
I can imagine. Now, last question. Is this the longest short you've done?
By far, this is twice as long duration-wise as anything I've done before. And then the preparation, and since we started working on the project, it's been about a year and a half, and it will have been pretty much close to 2 years, I imagine, by the time we get it finished. from when I started writing the script. So it's going to, in the end, be the longest thing I've ever done, and also it will have taken way longer, like 5 times as long as anything else I've done in the past.
Well, it has been fascinating for all of us, myself included, to watch your progression, because every time you do another one, they are just better and better and better. So I am so excited for you.
Thank you.
I've had a peek at a little bit of the script, so I have a sense of what's coming.
Yeah.
But I have no doubt you are going to deliver it in amazing style. So, oh, we woke the dog up.
Oh, I have both dogs. Oh, let's see. What do I
Oh,
have? I
there
have
we
both
go.
dogs on my bed currently. They just sit here all day, sleeping, making weird noises while I try to work. Yeah.
Good. Good. Well, they thankfully didn't make any weird noises during this. So I
Luckily,
won't.
yeah.
I'm not going to keep you, Octavian. I know you got your plate full. So thank you for joining us, and best of luck. And hopefully we can follow you on Facebook, or is there going to be a page for Wormies that people can follow?
Yeah, so on Instagram and Facebook, there's a page for the movie, and then for myself, for me, all of my social media is just under my name, Octavian Kaul, which I'm sure will be spelled out somewhere in the title of this.
Yep.
And then the movie, it has a website, wormiesmovie.com, and then it's just Wormies on all social medias.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll find them, and I'll put the links down below so that people can like the page and follow along with your progress. So very
Perfect.
exciting. Always happy to talk to you, Octavian. Give your mom a hug for me.
I will.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later.
And that's it. Thank you for joining us, and hopefully you will find some time to catch some of the films at the Victoria Film Festival, currently running until February 14th. Until next week.